Hi, everybody. This is my weekend live, but it's happening on a Monday. And as usual, I'm going to break it into a few segments. I'm going to be talking about the first thing that I'm going to be talking about is a post from this week. And I'm going to be talking about the winter post in this week and building muscle, building your body in the winter. In the next post, I'm going to be talking about a simple health tip. And the third thing I'm going to be talking about is what I've learned this week, a new realization, something new that came into my mind. And then we're going to go into Q&A. I know it's a little late for those folks in India, but well, let's get this started. If there is a problem with the sound, let me know. My phone has been a little choppy, but hopefully we can make this work. So let's talk about the post that I did this week, which is the winter. And we've created this life, the way we have our lives designed these days. It's like one endless year. Back in the day when people worked on the farms, when people hunted, just the work was so aligned with the nature and the seasons of nature that you had to be doing different things in different seasons, because that's just how you were. All your work, all your labor was connected to the cycles of the nature. Oh, there is how bad is the background sound, guys? Let me know how bad that is, so we can either stay here, move, do what needs to be done. Okay, but I'm gonna go on, right? I'm gonna go on talking till I can get some feedback. Right, so I just want us to think about that, right? That today we look at the whole year as like this one endless cycle. And as a result of that, we don't honor the seasons. Now, talking about winter season, it is a very, very special season. You don't hear any background noise? Amazing. Thank you. And there is some drilling happening somewhere, but I'm just going to let that be really faint. Okay? And so the winter is actually a great time to build out your digestive fire, great time to build out your muscles. What happens in the winter is your ability to break down nutrients and wastes really expands, because all your heat is concentrated in the gut. It's not going out in sweat. The thermostatic reaction, the vent of your system has shut down, and there is concentrated heat. Plus, evolutionarily, you need better tissue during winter to protect yourself from the cold. That being said, it's a great opportunity. Our responsibility for the winter months is to really protect that Agni, to not let it get dampy and soggy. Because the challenge that lies in the winter is mucus, right? Hardening of the mucus. I've spoken about that as well. The mucus gets harder. Once you hit congestion, everything becomes damp. It's the difference between like a normal winter day and a snowy day. And you don't want your system to become snowy and sluggish. So what you're going to do is get good exercise in, eat good fats, have your greens during the, didn't realize there's so many, okay. Eat good greens during this time of the year. What I'm also going to be doing, right now, there's one danger with muscle building. And actually we have a workshop coming up December, I think 2nd or 3rd, on building muscle the right way. And I want to just offer you guys some food for thought. No mucus today. Okay, Mary Shake, not talking much about mucus. Okay, I want to give you guys some food for thought when it comes to muscle building. Now, what happens is a lot of people isolate proteins directly to build muscle. And I want to talk about what that does. Now, muscle comes from the element of earth in our body, right? Like according to Ayurveda, our body has 5 elements. Anything fluid is water. Anything dense and solid is the element of earth. Transformation is fire, movement is wind, etc. Now let's talk about earth, right? When you build muscle, you're basically building earthiness in your body. Protein like lentils, grains are also very earthy. So that protein adds to the earth in your body. Very often when people want to build muscle, what they start doing is just eating large, copious amounts of protein. And they give their body that dense food to eat with the inability of breaking it down, right? So when it's not being able to break down and you have this dense protein, then people have, unfortunately, autoimmune reactions. The other thing that happens is when you do a lot of earth, right? Let's just say, look at a desert. It's all earth, no water. It's cracked. it cracks. So the word ripped, right? What is the word ripped in its name? It has a rip in the word itself. And what very often happens when people do copious amounts of protein and people really, really work out a lot and eat dry foods, they skip their good fats, they develop muscle, which is very, very prone to injury, which is beautiful to look at, but very prone to injury. So I'm bringing this out as a warning sign that whenever you eat good amount of protein, you need good amount of fat so that you're not like the land of the desert, which is all cracked. You actually want to be supple. You want your muscle to be supple. It'll still look good. You may never look completely ripped, but you'll still look as good as you can be, and you will protect your body, you will protect your digestive fire, because your good fat will serve as a fuel to break down the proteins that you have. Well, I just wanted to give you a little snippet on that. So even in the winter when you're trying to build muscle, you definitely want to make sure that if you're doing proteins, you're doing it with a good fat, you're doing limited amount of proteins. I am going to do a workshop again, I said, right? Because there's a lot of other things that go wrong with building muscle the wrong way. One of those things is getting conditions like PCOS, PCOD, and endometriosis. Because I want to talk about what happens, right? Now, when a man and a woman both go to the gym, let's just say same exact weight, same exact body. When they go to the gym, they do the same exact workout. Who's going to build muscle first? It's the man. Because the body of the man is designed to promote earth. The man is just going to be more macho much quicker. He has more testosterone, which is a male hormone. The woman's body is designed to protect more fluid, right? Because we have reproductive fluids. We're supposed to have children. We're supposed to give milk. The baby is in an amniotic fluid. We're supposed to get our periods every month. So we are more fluid. We have estrogen. Now, when you make your body more like earth dominant, more protein dominant, more like over the top muscular, what can happen is your testosterone can go higher. When your testosterone gets higher, there can be a hormonal imbalance. If you're having period difficulties, it may aggravate period difficulties. You may not produce your egg every month the way you're supposed to. And now it gives rise to all kinds of health complications, all kinds of health disorders. So that being said, right? That being said, there are all of these other dangers when it comes to muscle building the wrong way. And I realize there's definitely a conversation that is warranted. I will be doing some more lives on it, but I will also how can you build muscle the right way? How can you still have a muscular body? I have a muscular body, but it's not over the top. But how do you maintain a reasonably muscular body without losing the feminine fluids in your body? And keep it consistent, and how do you keep it going? So it's very, very important. It's a very important dialogue. It's a very important conversation. So I wanted to have it, right? Acne is also related to this, especially cystic acne, hormonal imbalance. I actually have this nice little thing going on here from some of the blasphemy I did in the last Diwali and Halloween time. And I can talk about that as well, what happened to me. I actually don't mind it too much, and so this is something about muscles. Use the winter, eat the good fats, build the muscle, and that's what I'm going to tell you. Now I want to give you a health tip, which I think is a very important health tip. Is when you are consuming spicy foods, if you're consuming a lot of spicy foods, you're consuming a lot of caffeine, it is going to build up heat and dryness in your body, right? Now that again will brings you to the same dialogue of making sure either you have good fats, you have something like coconut, you have something like avocados, you have enough ghee, you have enough milk. Traditionally, when you had spices, the spices were supposed to be splattered in a good fat, ghee preferably, because it's cooling. The spices always need an accompaniment. If you have ginger by itself, you have ginger in a tea, the tea, it'll be diluted, so it won't go and burn your body. If you put the ginger in a fat and you splatter that ginger to add flavor to your food, it will be a little bit more diluted. So whenever you're having great amounts of spice, make sure you have a diluting agent in your body. Otherwise, that spice is actually going to go in and burn your body. Let's say you really, really like your spicy food and you said, I want to go and have it. I would say make sure that you follow it up at some point in the day with something coconutty. Coconut is just easily available. It's easily possible for anyone, anywhere to get, or coconut oil, or coconut water, something like that, so you can go and balance that spice off. Rose water, rose jam also do a great job, but you want to make sure that you're not, even though it's the winter, you are diluting your spices in soups, you're diluting it. Be wary of how much spice consumption. The other thing that does happen during the winter sometimes is people get used to eating a lot of spicy foods. They start out with a little, and the way spices work is that you need a lot more of the same spice to have the same kick when you start eating spicy food. All right, when you get used to spicy food. So you may start here and end up eating a lot of spicy food. That happens to me every year when I go to India. I'm not used to the spicy food, and my family does not even make very spicy food, but I'm not used to it. So the first 3-4 days, I'm like, how do you all eat this food? By the last day, I've gotten used to it. Doesn't always serve my body, but I just want to, I wanted to bring it out there. Also, when you're choosing between spices, I'd say red chilies, red chili powder, much worse than fresh green chilies or any other spices, right? Whether it's ginger, any other spices are always better than plain red chili powder, cayenne pepper, whatever it is. Those absolutely need to be diluted. Chutney is a great way to eat your spicy food. So if you make a chutney, I personally make cilantro, mint, and chilies. One of my regulars at my house, you'll always find it. So I make a lot of condiments, especially during the winter months. I will make like there's always pesto freshly made. Sometimes we make sun-dried tomato tapenade. We will always have fresh chutney, and those are great ways to add flavor to your food. So instead of going to town on spicy foods, I'd say eventually if you start appreciating these subtle flavors, you'll probably stop eating that level of spicy food. Okay, now I'm going to talk about my last segment. So I gave you guys a health tip with what to do with spicy foods. We spoke about the post with the mucus and the winter and building muscle. And what I really, what epiphany I had this week, what realization I had is something to do with astrology. And I was talking to a client earlier, right before this call. And of course, and I'm going to be answering questions right after this. I'm going to go back and see what questions came up. But it's astrology, right? Getting astrological charts read is become a great pastime of India, all of America. I personally do it myself, so I'm not going to say not to do it. I actually enjoy doing it. But what it offers, right? People think everything that's offered in the chart is etched in stone. It's a destination for where your life is heading. Actually, I want you to think of the perspective that it's not a destination. It's actually the starting point. It is the potential your life carries. For example, if somebody's chart says you're going to have difficulty in work, in your work balance or your work life, that's an area for you to say, oh, this is the area where I have the most triggers, where I have most habit patterns, where I need to change the script of how I carry myself. It is not a reality etched for your whole life. It is an area where you may need to become a little bit more self-aware. You may start out there, but you may end in your life being like super, super duper successful, even if your chart says you will have like a work-life situation. I want to give the example of Napoleon, right? Like Napoleon, there's a story that goes that Napoleon, who was a great warrior, when he was younger, it was said to him that you're going to make nothing of your life. And he really took an object and he really changed the line, and he said, and he became a great warrior, right? So any of this information that is told to us is actually just potential for us to become aware, and there are opportunities for us to really excel rather than seeing that this is fixed destiny. Most of the time when we read a chart and something is told to us, it's something that we already expected. Like, for example, they say, hey, you'll have trouble around your married life, and somebody, or like with the opposite gender, and you're like, oh no, I never wanted this. It's because you already know somewhere that that's where your challenge area lies. It's amazing. I personally had been told I was stuck in a life situation a few years ago, and I spoke to a great astrologer, and she said to me that, Nidhi, you're stuck in this situation. I didn't even tell her, and she was able to sense. And I said, when am I going to get out of this situation? And she says, that's the question you have to ask yourself. It's how much work are you willing to put in? I said, what's the work? Do I need to change the situation outside? And she says, no, you just have to become with where are your triggers inside. Just be there for yourself, that where do you act out of triggers in this situation. And I said to her, I said, Lisa, that could take a lifetime. She said, it could take 2, it could take 3 lifetimes. But I spent every moment just becoming aware of what was coming up for me in that department of my life. Within 2 months, I had amazing breakthroughs I had not had for I don't think lifetimes. And because I just became aware of that area and where I was operating from. Then I spoke to the same lady again in 2-3 months. And then she automatically was like, wow, what did you do? You made such a big shift. Like your work is already done. And it had been done. Things changed. So I just wanted to throw it out there, right? Astrology is great opportunity. If you're not into astrology, you stay out of it. If you're into it and you get upset about charts, I'd say look at it not as a fixed destiny, as a starting point for what you need to work on. Well, that was what came to me, and I see a lot of muscle and protein questions. So let's go ahead and go. I'm going to go up all the way. I'm going to start at Christine Keller's question. What about sinus infection? Not sure if I should go to the doctor after 5 days of feeling sick with cough, chest, heaviness, dry nose, and congestion. I'm going to answer this question because I think it's an important one during this month. One of the things that we do, a lot of people do with sinus infections or anything cold related, is drink honey in hot water. Honey in hot water will harden the mucus and will keep it stuck in a certain region. So firstly, if you're doing honey in hot water, in hot teas, it may feel soothing for a few moments, not to do it. Honey in herbs, in certain herbs, is good. It doesn't harden your mucus quite as much, even though the function of honey is to kind of dry out mucus. So sometimes when you are really stuck here, stuck anywhere, or it's a dry cough, I say stay away from honey. Because you actually want to loosen that phlegm, right? You want to loosen that phlegm. Like she says, there's dry nose congestion, which means that everything is already dry. If I were you, I would inhale eucalyptus. I would do oil massage all the way here. I would put a little bit of salt in oil, dissolve it. The salt will help for the mucus to break down even if it's inside. And I would massage it really, really, really well and then take steam. So it's already breaking down. You can do a little bit of nasya as well. Christine, if you don't know what nasya is, Kristen, it's on my highlights. I would do nasya. I would do inhalation of eucalyptus, the massage, and then steam. Also, even putting oil in your ears can actually really help, warm oil. Just last week, I'm going to talk about that story later. If I have time towards the ending, right? But that is something that you can do and take it from there. And if it doesn't help in 2 days, then you always have the option of going to the doctor. But I would say generally, if you're feeling sinus infection, you want to treat it the first day. My house, sign of a cold, that cold can't last for more than half a day. Last week, right? I mean, with us, I had my own birthday party. I had Diwali. We had Halloween. The last few weeks became a lot. And I woke up one morning with sudden weather change and congestion in my voice. I had something cold to drink at night, somebody's event. And I was like, and it just overnight, over half a day, really attacked it, gone. Protein powders, right? So our protein powder is not so good. And again, the muscle building workshop is going to really talk about alternatives. But when you do isolate protein powders, protein always needs a good fat. Protein by itself is dry earth. Think about what you can do with dry earth. Nothing. You can't even make a sand castle out of dry earth. There's nothing you can do. It just goes, sucks into all your own mucus lining in your gut, which is so important, sucks all your fluids. And then your Agni needs to really fire it. To heat up something without a fuel is really, really difficult. So protein powders inherently, either they're isolate proteins, your body doesn't recognize it as a full food. And when they're not isolate proteins, then you need a good fat to digest it. So I much rather, right, especially lentil pasta and this and that, it's blasphemous to think of consuming lentils in powdered pasta form. It's powdered and pastad. And to use it in that form without a good fat, it's blasphemous. There's a reason why ghee is put to lentils. What do I mean by good fat? Good fat is ghee, good fat is coconut oil, good fat is good olive oil, good fat is almonds, good fat is good almond oil, good fat is good avocados, sweet potatoes. But like, I actually mean fluid fat, if you can use it, right? Like ghee, coconut oil, etc. when it comes to the proteins. What are the good sources of calcium for keeping calcium level fine? I'm not ever going to say it's the source of the calcium. It's how your body breaks down calcium. Everything that your body does, even Abhyanga can help with calcium. Weight-bearing exercises can help with calcium. It's the receiving end, right? We're always dumping. We have to stop dumping and say, what is this entity that is receiving this nutrition? Let's work on the receiver rather than what we're giving. So even calcium is one of those. What food should you avoid to balance that testosterone imbalance? So Shakshika, without going crazy, the few foods that I will tell you want to avoid is urad dal. If you're Indian and you're having urad dal, the black gram. You want to avoid eggplants. You want to avoid a lot of spicy foods. You want to avoid yeah, at least those foods you want to avoid. What you want to consume is more fennel seeds, coconut, almonds, softer, whiter foods is what you want to consume, right? But you want to avoid eggplant, you want to avoid spicy foods, and you want to avoid urad dal. Also and you want to avoid cold water and cold shakes. Definitely cold water, cold shakes, you definitely want to avoid. It looks like a mole on my chin, so I'll take it. That it does. That's why I don't mind it. When it's like really bright and active, it was annoying. What does only losing lower body weight in women indicate? It depends on the age where it's lost as well, right? You suddenly lose, and where exactly lower body? Is it your legs? Is it your thighs? Teresa, can you suggest a few books for Ayurveda practitioners for cooking and health? I am writing my own and I'm excited about that. But for now, I will tell you the ones I really like. Myra Lewin, Halepule. So look at Myra Lewin. I really, really like her work. Of course, Teresa. The pleasure is all mine to be doing this. Would you please do a live or a post on hormonal acne? To be honest with you, a post won't just cut it. I can give some information in a post. Maybe a live, right? At the end of the day, like, I think also when our own masculine and feminine energies go off. And I'd like to talk about what they are. So if I don't have a lot of questions, I'll talk about what the masculine and feminine energies are, because actually keeping them balanced solves a lot of the inner environment stuff going on in our body. Your climate stays intact and a lot of hormonal things don't come up. Hormones serve functions, right? Most of our hormones, especially the sexual hormones, they serve gender functions, right? So gender function means you have to nurse a baby, or you have to push out a baby, or you have to have your period, or you need to conceive. So your hormones are really designed to serve gender functions. And you want to create that energy flow, that mindset in your body. So your body keeps pumping. Yeah, there's a saying called yatha mana tatha prana, that where the mind goes is where the energy flows. And that's how the whole mind matter game works. Things will start happening when you put your mind to it. Question on muscle building. Your husband is following a weight loss program that encourages high protein and low carbs. We are vegetarian, so his meals are mostly tofu, tepisit, and veggies, and he does. Okay, one of the things you want to be careful of, especially if you're a man, is look for a lack of a better term, is man boobs, right? If you're having a lot of tofu plays with your estrogen, which is a growth female hormone. Men have a little bit of it, but it's basically growth of your breast, growth of, the womb, all of that. And if you are noticing that man boobs, you want to stop tofu, right? Tofu really plays. But what I will tell you, Mary Mascara, is I would say, see if you can if you can bring lentils and you can add some ghee or coconut oil to your lentils, or even, there's some recipes of lentils cooked in like nice coconut milk. And if you want to do any of those, right, then you're kind of adding a softer element to his protein, and that might help. Can you please do anything for eye health? I work 24/7 on my PC and temples hurt. I have done a video on eye exercises. You can go and take a look at it. Plus blue light glasses that I'm wearing, no brainer. Why do you get mucus in the evening? As the sun sets, you go into the kapha kala of the day, which means the time of the day where the mucus is rising. When the sun is out there, there's an environment which your metabolic activity, you work, we're diurnal mammals, our internal world is just like the external world. So when the sun is out, the experience of mucus is not so much, because yes, we're upright, but more than that, there is natural heat in our body because we're diurnal mammals, and the natural heat keeps the mucus flowing, keeps it going, gives it its function. In the evening, as the sun sets, even your body becomes cold, because we are again diurnal mammals. We rise with the sun, sleep with the sun. So even on cold days, your body will still have its own cycle, its own rising and setting. And as the heat in your body sets, the natural heat in your body sets, the experience of mucus becomes harder. The mucus becomes harder, it's less melted, it's more condensed, more constricted, and all of this can happen. Is Vaseline petroleum jelly safe to put on skin? I mean, it's not unsafe, but it's still processed. Yeah, Kristen, give it 2 days. Why are some people more sensitive to light and sound for sleeping? Is that too because of some imbalance? Yes, Vaishali. And especially if you're very lean and you have something called rasa dushti, which means your preliminary plasma tissue is not very strong. In Ayurveda, they're rejuvenating herbs or rasayanas. Chyawanprash is one of the most famous ones. You can actually if you're in the US, you can buy the Pure Foods Chyawanprash. You want a 20%, go to my codes section on my page, on my Instagram, and you can get the code and you can get a 20%. But Chyawanprash is one of those things where you can, if you have the Agni to digest a Chyawanprash, to build that good plasma. Can you recommend some books for cooking and health, which I already did? What would be a good gluten-free pasta option? Then don't eat it. Have rice noodles. Pooja, I love my pasta and I'm happy to indulge in, I'll try to get the fresh pasta. I don't do eggs, but I would still try to get a semolina, simple, cleaner version rather than the store Barilla's pasta. And I just enjoy when I eat my pasta. I really do like pasta. But I would say it's better to get the real version than the gluten-free version. How to manage health here in India with so much cooking, choking, pollution around. I've also done a video on that. In fact, just recently, my grand uncle passed away. He was almost 100, lived in India. His whole family got COVID when he was 99, and he didn't. And one of the things that I attribute to his health is the pranayam he did. He did a lot of breath work, a lot of pranayam. So if you're living in India and you have that health condition, the one thing, and this choking pollution, the one thing you want to make sure is you also get enough of the fresh air. You are doing your breathing, exercising, your pranayam every day, every single day. Keep that health of your lungs intact. Keep that retention intact. Breathe in, hold your, do alternate nostril breathing. I don't recommend Koka Kapal Bhati for everybody, but do alternate nostril breathing, but also do breath retention. Expand the capacity of your lungs. Do a little bit of swimming. Of course, avoid going out there in the thick of pollution if you can. And if you do, just forgive yourself. As long as you're going to do your breathing exercises, you're going to do your abhyanga, you're going to do your nasya, you're fine. I will save the life. Shivani, if that's the problem, dear, you have to understand what's going on. Does milk actually help improve your calcium? It depends on how your body is going to break down the casein in the milk. And it also depends upon how casein is a protein in the milk, which is pretty hard to break down, especially if you have a weak Agni. And it also depends on the type of milk that you're consuming. If it's a very heavy, thick milk, then your body might spend all its energy just breaking down that milk. How used to your body is with the milk. Okay, I have a lot of dandruff, acne specific questions. I'm not taking them for now. Oh wow, there's a lot of dandruff and acne questions. I think we will have to do a whole new live on that. Guys, I have a skin and hair care workshop which does actually address both of these issues. It's super cheap. Buy it on, you find the link in my bio. I would highly recommend people to buy it so you get a whole holistic situation. It went on for about 2-3 hours. And what else are you noticing, Priyanka? I'm just curious besides that. How to fix nail issues? You probably have like a sudden drop in calcium in your own body. What I do like, the first thing that I say if you're finding nail issues, start consuming, and if it's not very hot, on your body is not very hot and the weather is not very hot, start having roasted sesame. Start with half a teaspoon with a little bit of jaggery, move up to a whole teaspoon. Do this for a month and see what happens. Guys, I'm going to take a sip of water. How to manage cracked heels in the winter is the first thing you want to do is, if you go for pedicures, don't get your heels scrubbed to death. Very bad, the calluses will come back stronger. But what does really help, right, is if you do a nice warm oil massage at night, sometimes even steam your heels, and you wear socks and you go to sleep at night. That can really help your heels in the winters, right? Also, make sure what shoes are you wearing, right? You want to make sure you're wearing good shoes. Knee pain could be many, many different reasons. How can you know about immunization for babies? Yes, Mandakini, I shall talk about it. I'll talk about what I did, right? So I had one baby born in India. I didn't even know she was already shot before she came to me. They had put some shots in her. When I came here to the US, I just got bare minimum immunizations which were required to go to school. Where I lived in New Jersey, till 5, you had to get a flu shot. I gave a medical, you could give a religious exemption, which I did, and I got out of it. Long story short, whatever is not mandatory, I don't get. I had friends who flew back to India from New York, and they gave rotavirus shots, A, B, C, D. I didn't give anything. I would have ideally not liked to give much to begin with, but I didn't battle with the system. I picked my battles, right? I said I'm going to work on the children's health and their ability, because it's a poison. In a way, you're actually poisoning your body and then teaching it how to fight back the poison so that it produces those antibodies. It kind of has those antibodies, right? So I'm not a big fan of them. That being said, I don't argue too much when it's just a norm. Continue to build their immunity. In Ayurveda, there was a concept of immunization, right? So if you look at the Ayurvedic textbooks, they had exactly what herbs to give at birth, what herbs to give at 6 days, what herbs to give at 21 days, what herbs. It said there are certain herbs that were to be given in order, and it was actually done to build up the immunity for the for the kids. And it was basically like immunization. So Ayurveda has its own stuff in place. It's not been done today. People don't do it. The best you can do is something called Suvarna Prashan, which is available in Mandakini. And if you don't have, if it's not available to you without a prescription, reach out to me, I'll give you one. But it is basically Suvarna Prashan. And Suvarna Prashan is something that you can administer to your baby. It serves as an Ayurvedic immunization. How to tackle dry hair in the winters? They just keep getting attracted to woolen clothes. Oh, see, we in the US don't even wear woolen clothes, right? Like, that static doesn't happen. I don't wear, it's winter, and my hair may have become slightly drier in the winter, but not that much. I also think when we don't over shampoo our hair, it doesn't become over dry. So don't use a lot of shampoo. Shampoo dries your hair more than it cleans the hair, I feel. I use very little shampoo. But I guess if the friction is going to get attracted, you just want to tie your hair. You don't have a choice. Pure Living. Thank you, Ayurveda Style, for putting that out there. What to do about anger? As in, what to do about anger? I think I'm learning to appreciate that we have all our emotions are just amazing. We think, you know what happens, right? When you think as a child that it's virtuous to not have a certain emotion, right? Let's say you were taught or you believed that it's virtuous to not get angry. What you do is then you have learned to suppress your anger because it's not possible to not feel those feelings. You like stop reading them. Reacting is a different story, but feeling the anger, you say that I don't even want to feel it because as children you don't know how to react, how not to react. So you're told it's virtuous to not be angry ever. Now we've suppressed our anger, and when we've suppressed our anger, what's happened is shame around anger has come, guilt around anger has come. So in secret moments when we feel anger, we feel guilty and we feel shameful that, oh my God, I'm supposed to be this person who's not supposed to be angry. And you're secretly feeling angry. You're not doing anything about it because it's virtuous to not act out your anger. And then you kind of are living with emotions which are the lowest emotions on the planet in terms of energetic vibration, which is guilt and shame. And often they're so low, guilt and shame are so low in the vibration of emotions, guilt, fear, shame, that when people have excess of those emotions, what they end up doing is getting into addictions, television addiction, substance addiction, masturbation addiction, all kinds of addictions. So what I've been working with Shannon is, wow, like being in wonder of all the feelings that come up, like, oh my God, I'm feeling angry. How you react, right, is a different story. You can feel angry and go and write something in your journal. You can feel angry, acknowledge the anger, go out for a run. You can feel angry and say, I choose to communicate to this person because they actually matter to me and they triggered me where it's really hard for me to heal from, or I'm healing from this spot which feels vulnerable and angered easily. So I'm going to be honest and I'm going to say, hey, I felt angered. Instead of saying you angered me, the truth is the counterpart of the trigger was in me, and say, I felt angered. I'd like you to be a little patient when it comes to this because I'm still learning to work with myself on this area of my life, right? For me, if the person's not close by, if the person is not a part of my core, I actually don't personally give the power to anybody to create magnanimous reactions out of me. I was trained like that, right? But it's important to feel all the feelings. I think it's beautiful. You know, when you talk about the Indian goddesses, you talk about Kali and you talk about Durga, and they have the ability to use their force and use their fierceness. And then you also have Saraswati, who's so gentle and awakens your wisdom, inside gives you knowledge. You also have Lakshmi, who enjoys the abundance of the world. So all of those are within us. We are supposed to enjoy them all, from the world to the anger, to the sadness, to the pain, to grief, to all of those feelings are beautiful. They're all to be enjoyed. Whenever you suppress any of these feelings, they bring us down right to the bottom of the radar, to guilt and shame, which really bring us nothing. They are the lowest. Those are the only emotions that I think we want to stay away from, which doesn't mean you overnight can. But by noticing what brings shame and allowing and accepting that which brings shame is the best way to deal with all our emotions. Shannon, I don't know if that's the answer you wanted, but that's what came up for me, and I said I'll communicate it. I also want to say one thing. Well, I'm raising girls. I have a big awareness of the fact that I don't want any whores in my house. So anything happens, anything comes on TV, any news is heard, I don't want the girls to ever experience, oh my God, like, oh, you know, that feeling of shame that somebody did this or somebody is doing that. To raise shame-free people, to raise shame-free children is to just be accepting of everything, and then your emotions become an a la carte menu. You can pick which one you want to call upon and what you want to act out of. But it can only happen when you've accepted all your emotions. Long answer to a short question. Sorry. Chavanprash has Amala. I can't say. Okay, my number one recommendation for gut health is consume your foods cooked and warm. Good Chavanprash brand in India. Just get a local Ayurvedic pharmacy that puts their heart into it. Anything that's very specific, like heaviness in throat while eating, I need more background, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to answer that. for a dry cough, you want to go more with licorice, less with honey. So if you have a dry cough, you make a licorice tea, boiled licorice, and try drinking that 3 times a day. Disha Shah, I have done some post-COVID posts, you know. How do I deal with a lot of acid reflux? Again, very specific. Ayurveda has amazing cures and understanding of acid reflux, like no-brainer, hands down cure. Work with a practitioner. Guys, my favorite thing, which I'm sure people know now, which I spoke about, what you want to apply as a hand cream, as a face cream, as something that I've been doing and I'm really, really enjoying, is Shatadhata Ghruta. You want to get Shatadhata Ghruta, and you can apply it anywhere you want. It's your replacement for Vaseline, it's your replacement for moisturizer, it's your replacement for life. It's amazing. And if somebody who's listening knows, please type it in. Yeah, so Aarti, that back of the head kumbhak is something that I stumbled upon myself. But then when I started doing more work, I realized that there are people who do it and teach it, right? It's like an ujjayi breath. It's through your throat, like you're drinking from a straw. And you just kind of just imagine it stuck at the back of your head. But I'll try and do a video because I think that breath retention is amazing. Hi, Sheena, Huria. Heavy periods and hair fall, again, go to the beginning of my life because it can be associated again with the hormonal stuff going on. What oil do I recommend for massaging my feet? Honestly, either sesame or ghee. And if you're using a kasa bowl to massage your feet, so there's kasa ones. I have this one. But the kasa bowl, which I have actually given to somebody, but if you use a kasa, this may not have the whole impact, but you basically, if you put ghee and you kind of do this in your feet, it's also going to take out extra heat, excessive heat from your system. Rhonda, dear, high blood pressure again has so many different reasons, right? I want you all to think about all the different reasons for people can have high blood pressure, because the volume of the blood has increased, so it can have high blood pressure. Sometimes it's something wrong, something right at the valves of the heart, so the pressure is increased. Sometimes it's the plaque that's increased, so the pressure is increased. Sometimes the arteries that have narrowed, so the pressure is increased. There's no one size fits all. To understand why there is high blood pressure is really, sometimes the kidney mechanism and the blood pressure are playing with each other. Yeah, Preeti, the heaviness in the throat while eating, right? It's probably some acid reflux or some wind coming up. These are very specific questions and they require, people, for you to be seen to be answered. What do I think of hot yoga? Sarah loves sunset and rainbows. Sarah, I love sunset and rainbows, but I don't love hot yoga so much. And the reason is because yoga is supposed to make your body more fluid and more supple. Hot yoga just dries us out. I mean, we do enough in our generation to dry us out. Youth, I say, the female body is about protecting your fluids. Hot yoga is about like heating up your joints to go further, and it feels great in the moment. But it can really long-term dry out and deplete your nerves, deplete your body, deplete your mucus lining. Not a big fan. Thanks, Pooja. I just like the way this person has cut my hair. He's given me so many layers that it automatically falls in curls. What kind of food should we avoid if you have eczema? You should, what type of eczema, right? Depends on dry eczema, dark eczema, bleeding eczema. It's all, if somebody gives you advice on, hey, what do you avoid for this broad condition? Don't take that advice. You want it, it's bio-individual. Your body may be very different. In South India, people add castor oil to lentils to cook them. Any reason? Again, it's for just quick cooking, good fuel. I've never done that. I can't imagine how it tastes, but I've never even heard that. I already said what oil to recommend is Dabur, a good brand from Chyawanprash. No, Dabur Chyawanprash. They make fake Chyawanprash. That's not Chyawanprash. Get it from a local Ayurvedic pharmacy. Is best. Or Two Brothers Organic Farms does a good job. Chandraprabhavati, yes, can help with symptoms of UTI. Reducing cramps during menstruation, I say the best thing to do is put warm castor oil in your lower pelvis and put a hot pad on top. You can even drink castor oil. You can have ajwain and salt. Best. Actually, that's the best. You have ajwain, which is carom seeds, with a little bit of black salt. I would say about 1/8 teaspoon of ajwain and half of the salt. Christine Keller, why do you have low phosphorus levels, right? You want to again look into your body and see why. Thanks, the foodie Potter, for writing Shatadhata Gruta. And that's how Kanchan is written. It is usually how it's written, but it's Dhauta. Kanchan, I just order mine. But whatever is available in the US, I order mine from India. Whatever is available in the US, you just get. Because it's amazing. Like, you just get it. Here in India, if I show you my bottle, I will say it's such a hideous looking bottle. But I'm going to show it to you. And it's about here. Oh, no, guys, guess what? It's not here. It's not here. I don't know why it's not here, but it's not here. I will try and post it. See, Shivani makes her own Shatadhata Gruta, which is a lot of work. Shivani. Rebecca, Ayurveda and diabetes, again, very well understood, but doesn't look at it as diabetes, looks at the person's body and then makes a call. Can we do Kasa feet massage in the winter as it releases excess heat from the body? If you have, see, for me, my heat got so trapped and I had so much hot food that I broke out. So Kasa 1 would help me if I used it, even now, while it's kind of getting to be winter. Depends, assess your own body. If you have heat, use it. Nuhananda, if you cannot wake and sleep with the sun, what I recommend is keep the same routine. Okay, and forgive yourself firstly that this is life and this is what you've been given with. Like young mothers, right? Oh, sorry. It's like young mothers. They can't really sleep and rise with the sun. So you forgive yourself. But when you come back home from your, I'm just going to make sure, from your work, just make sure you eat the same type of warm foods every day. You're just having the same warm foods or similar foods, keep it warm. The tendency is like, oh, I'm so tired, I'm going to watch TV. No, ground yourself. If you can, put a little bit of oil on your head, oil on your feet, put cotton in your ears, put some binaural beats, or put some water sounds and go to sleep. Get massages whenever you can during the day. Make a new clock. Just make sure you wind down your day with warm, grounding foods and activities. Hair thinning on the hairline, yes, of course we can do stuff, right? You want to first ask, why is it thinning? The first question you want to ask is, why is this happening for anything? How much gap should there be between food time and yoga and pranayam? So ideally, the yoga and pranayam happens first and then the food happens, right? So you want to make sure you've done your yoga, you've done your pranayam, you've taken your, snana is actually first, then is yoga and pranayam. But still, you can do, if you're doing a lot of yoga and you could do your bath, then you come and you gradually, as long as your breath is normal, heart rate is caught up. If you've eaten first, then I would say it's kind of like 3 hours. Oh, that's sweet of you to say brown skin magical. Strengthen gut muscles and nerves to improve peristalsis. Peristalsis also, right? The ability for your intestines to create motion so you can go to the toilet is also dependent on the muscular strength, right? It's dependent on the fiber you eat. It depends on the brain signals. There's a lot of different things. You would have to first make sure you're eating good fiber, that you're oleated, your food is oleated properly, that you're eating according to the clock of the sun. If it still doesn't happen, then you have to work on the signal. I have to go now, but I love your help. Thank you. Thank you so much. Why not two sprouts? Winter. Okay, that's a lot. These are three important questions, parental bliss. I'm going to take them all. Why do we not sprout lentils? I want you to just think of sprout them for fun. Once in a while, eat them, not a problem. But in general, sprouted lentils can give you skin disorders and other acidity. And I'll tell you why. The lentils might be healthier after sprouting in a laboratory. In your own body, they can give you health issues, skin issues, gout, inflammation, all of that. And I'll tell you why, right? Now that place, right, that Sandhi Kal, it's called the transition period in anything, right? Even if it's from day to night, it's from winter to summer. It's the most potent, most volatile period. Now when something is sprouting, when the grain is sprouting, its inherent heat is maximized. It's like 1 second later and it's going to explode. It's going to sprout out. And with that little root out there, or with that slight sprout, right, it has had a burst of internal heat. If you put sprouts out on the counter for some time, you're going to see how quickly they turn slimy. They rot basically. Your whole kitchen is going to smell up. That's because they're very volatile, very potent, very prone to fermenting, a lot of inherent heat, very slimy, all of those things. That's not how you want to have your sprouts every day. People like that idea because they think it softens the sprouts, doesn't need so much fat. It feels lighter, more gassy, yes, more hot, lighter to touch, slimier in your system. And it'll really slow down your system, right? So, I've also experienced this, but I also know it from Ayurveda. So, you don't want to have sprouts all the time. Once in a while, not a problem. And what else was your question, I think? Why not fruits in the winter? Why not fruits in the winter? Because you don't want it damp, right? Even though your Agni has it, but fruits will produce mucus one way or the other. When your experience of mucus is exaggerated in the winter and all mucus hardens, you want to avoid mucus producing food. Cultured butter in the US, anywhere. Do I like Banyan botanicals? Don't tell them I don't. So maybe some things are okay. I like VPK Maharishi, because they actually kind of like really give you reports on each batch of everything you order. Kids panicking with a loud noise. So for anybody, when a noise becomes a problem, right, there are a couple of things that can happen. One is that there's some trauma, right? It's post-traumatic PTSD. Trauma has happened and that can happen. But the other, Pooja, thank you for sharing the pharmacy's name. I forgot the name. I had sent Pooja the picture. And the other thing is, again, Rasadushti. So Chavanprash, something like Chavanprash, Rajni, I don't know if that was your first question only. That can help, right? Putting oil in the ears can also really, really help, hot oil. Okay, we are at the top of an hour, but I'm going to keep going for 3-4 minutes more. Is Chavanprash daily? No, I don't like to take anything daily. So I would say take Chavanprash. Winter is a good time to take Chavanprash. Just don't take it with milk. Lick 1/4 teaspoon of Chavanprash gradually and then give it some time, and then you have whatever else you want to have. Anemia, again, very broad question. Thank you. Why heat gets trapped? Yeah, that's what happens in the winter, right? So winter acne is because everything gets constricted. All your channels get constricted. And when they get constricted, any existing oils underneath, right, your pores shut down. And now underneath, if you have excess oil, excess sliminess, excess heat, which does not have a vent to get out, now starts becoming like this, like imagine like this, kind of like just going inside, knocking at the door of your skin and becoming. The long sounding cream. Look for any Ayurvedic pharmacy. Look at it all. Look online as well. Okay. Guys, one more thing I wanted to say in the winter. One more, maybe I'll say it in my next week, what I learned for the week, which I really enjoyed. So binge eating is emotional eating. It has nothing to do with the hunger. But if you're hungry in the winter, you're supposed to be more hungry in the winter. Anshu, I've done a video on this, how your Agni is higher. You're supposed to eat more. Eat more grains, eat more root vegetables, sit down and eat slower. But binge eating has to do with an emotional state, not with a physical need. You have to always ask, am I feeling hungry from here? Am I feeling hungry from here? My mother has thyroid since many years. Can my thyroid without medicines? No, Sam, it depends on the person, right? What is the reason behind nose bleeding? Again, excess heat and slime in the blood. Okay, I'm going to go back to Pooja's message, and I'm going to pin the comment so that people can know where it's from. I'm going to pin comment, so you all know where the Shatadhata Ghruta is from. It's like, it's written in Hindi, the name on the bottle. It's like that basic. Okay. Nidhi, I'm so hungry frequently, especially in the colder season, not helping with the weight loss. Roma, you want to exercise more and eat more in the winter. You'll build good tissue, and like really, it'll really work. But exercise more and eat more. If you don't want to eat more fats, don't eat more fats, but eat more greens, eat more lunch, less dinner. Oh, VPK Maharishi. Aarti, the gurgling sounds from the stomach. I'm not getting into that right now. Okay, guys, I should look for it online. Yeah, look for the cream online. We'll talk more, everybody. I think that's it for today. I shall see you guys next weekend. Look out for my muscle building workshop. I also am thinking of offering a discount, Black Friday discount on my existing online Ayurveda course, which basically teaches you Ayurveda like a first language, right? So it teaches you through immersion, understanding it like it's second nature rather than academic. So thanks, Christabel. I look only different because of my glasses. But thank you, everybody. And I shall see you guys all soon again.